Welcome to Tomorrow's World Today, a show dedicated to the discovery of innovation and cutting-edge technology to be featured in the Park of the Future. The park includes 4 worlds. The worlds are inspiration, creation, innovation, and production. Each one will showcase the latest developments from the greatest companies and smartest people in the world. This is Inventionland World Headquarters. Here now is George Davison.
All right, everybody. Well, we know an idea is really exciting, and we're really excited about building a park of the future. But there are some challenges moving from the idea to execution. We need to put a lot of focus into figuring out power. And we would like this power to be as green and as sustainable as possible because we know that's great for Mother Earth. Our park is all about innovation, so our energy source should be innovative too. We need to start researching the different kind of resources that are out there for us to draw from. One of the first ones we're going to look at will be solar. And we need to figure out just how much sun are we going to need if we go in the solar direction. There'll be rides in this park. There'll be other experiential things going on, all surrounded around creation and how things come to be. Also, if we go in this direction, there's this situation. We're gonna have to put solar panels up. Are we gonna have to build a solar farm? And if we do, just how many acres is it gonna take to power up a park of this nature? It's big. And I don't know how much space we're gonna need yet, but we're gonna figure that out too. So we're on a quest, and we're gonna send Tamara out there into the world to figure this out.
I told George that I thought we should start at the beginning of the process. You know I like to be thorough. So the very first thing we're gonna do is look at a house that's considering converting from electric to solar. Christian has graciously allowed me to tag along on his initial assessment. So let's start at the beginning. You get a call from a homeowner saying, we're thinking about converting. Where does Trinity start the process?
So there's a few key considerations when we're looking at the home. We want to find the GPS location, the pitch.
Wait, not pitch?
The pitch.
The
so
pitch.
like this.
Like this.
Like this?
Not the
No, not that. So the actual pitch and then the azimuth of the house. So which direction it faces the sun.
Oh, okay, got it.
So once we have those key considerations for the home, we can actually build what's called a CAD design. So our
Okay.
engineers can put panels on a house and see exactly what the production's going to be for the home.
Oh, cool.
me
So
show
it's
you.
super convenient then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we did here is if you see like this, we can spin it around
wow.
and see the different factors that are going to show some shade.
So you've had a chance to review this house. Is this a good candidate?
This house is pretty good because it is due south. So there's a lot of trees outside and there's a lot of dormers on the roof. I'll show you what wouldn't be good, but we can definitely put a good system on this house.
And for a house like this, what are the kind of savings that it might see?
It really depends. Let's say if the electric bill is, let's say, $100, typically homeowners can save anywhere between 20 to 30% off their electric bill, depending on how great the site is. This site seems to be pretty good, so if we can remove a couple of the trees, maybe move a couple of the vents on the roof, I think we can have a pretty good system.
And on a day like today, where it's not necessarily cloudy, but we're not getting a lot of sun, is that still a good collection day for solar?
So what we do is we take the data from the airports of the past 10 years. So what we do is we pull the data, our engineers put it into our system, we account for rain, snow, any type of inclement weather, we account that into the design. So we understand what this system is going to produce over the next 25 years.
And how long does a system like this usually last?
About 30 years, 34 years.
So plenty of time to make back your return on investment.
Plenty of time.
George, I think the folks at Trinity Solar might have a plan for the park. So you pointed out a lot of different features around the house that would affect how solar would be installed and whether this house is a good candidate. Can you go into a little more detail about them with me?
Of course. There's a half moon type window that was at the front. That obviously wouldn't be good for us. It's an obstruction on the roof, so we couldn't put a panel there. Such things as the exhaust pipes that were kind of sticking out, I would just recommend that the homeowner relocates those to the corner of a home. There's obviously some beautiful trees out here, and I love trees as well. Now, fun fact, for every 1 kilowatt that's installed on a home, it actually represents planting 3.7 acres worth of trees. So a lot of homeowners may get upset that we take down some trees, but we make sure that we're very environment conscious and we let them know the benefits of going solar and what it truly represents in Mother Nature.
Well, now that I understand the assessment process for someone who's interested in solar, I want to see a house with solar actually installed. So where else do you go? New Jersey. What a perfect day for us to take the next step in our exploration of solar energy. We're here at a house that's had solar panels installed for about 12 years, and Ken from Trinity Solar is going to join me to help explain how the technology has developed over the last couple of years. So this house has had solar panels for about 12 years, which is a long time as far as solar energy goes, right?
I mean, the future is always tomorrow, right? It doesn't matter whether you talk about 60 years ago when solar technology really actually came on the scene, or you talk about 15 or 20 years ago when net metering was really legislated in the United States and really has caused us to be able to do solar everywhere, because now you can connect them to the grid.
Do me a favor and break down net metering.
If you use 1,000 kilowatt hours in a month and your system produced 500, and you still needed 500 from the utility, it would show that all that 1,000 maybe came in and maybe the 500 went back out, and they're only billing you for 500. And so you only have to worry about the net. That's where the name comes from, net metering. And so net metering gave customers the comfortable sense that it doesn't matter when the sun shines or when I need the power, we're able to feed back and forth with the utility company. Net metering and battery technology as it comes in the future really allow it to be seamless, where you don't realize which power you're using when, you have power whenever you need it. And so this really is kind of the best set it and forget it solution that's out there.
Battery technology, it used to be an impediment, or a perceived impediment, to deploying solar energy. How have advances in battery technology changed that?
Battery technology is becoming much more cost-effective, much more efficient. And then the inverters, which are kind of like the brain of the system, have improved to allow us to do different types of installations that we weren't able to do, many years ago.
What exactly is an inverter?
The inverter is the brain of the system. So solar panels produce DC power. It's kind of like what you get from a battery. We live in the world of AC power with the utility here in the US. So the inverter actually converts that energy from DC to AC so that it matches everything that's already in our home. And that's what helps make the system very seamless. So you don't actually see any difference in your house when you have solar. The difference you see is the electric bill at the end of the month.
So it sounds like something else the technology has done, which is different probably than when the panels on this house were first put in, is that it's really allowed custom solutions for each family, for each structure that's considering installing, so that you can really customize things now.
We've really held on to our roots. And so we see ourselves kind of as that consultant. Imagine it like being the realtor instead of the mortgage company. We're going in, we're trying to see how does that customer use energy? What is their kind of long-term plan to use energy?
So I know that Trinity does a lot of residential installation, but my question is, what do you think about, large-scale installation, like say on a Park of the Future?
Yeah, if you're going to promote environmentally friendly place to go hang out, you should be promoting environmentally friendly way to keep it lighted. I think that's probably one of the most important things that we need to see today is really the encouragement to help people understand that this is an option, that not only is viable, but it's a better solution. Between efficiencies in technology and efficiencies in the financial options, people are able to actually do solar without money out of their pocket or for a lower investment. As the technology gets better, we're able to do it on homes that maybe wouldn't have worked for solar before. And as battery technology gets better, we're going to be able to do it for homes that maybe didn't have the right grid connection.
Well, as George always likes to say, there's always a better way. So thanks so much for making the introduction.
Oh, not a problem. Tomorrow you're going to be in good hands. This is one of our oldest friends and customers.
Excellent.
Hello.
Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Ken, how are you?
I'm great. Listen, I met a new friend tomorrow. She'd love to talk to you about your system. Could I leave her with you?
Sure you can. Hi, Tamara.
All right,
how
thank
are
Hey,
you?
Joe. Thanks, Ken. It's really nice to meet you.
Sure. You want to walk outside?
Yeah, do you mind showing me around the property a little?
Sure.
Okay, great. Let's go. What first inspired you to invest in solar? Because you're an early adopter.
Realizing that I would be able to save a fair amount of money. The system would pay for itself in anywhere from 6 to 8 years, and after that, it would be all a profit for me as far as savings.
And has it actually paid itself?
Yes, it has. It's paid for itself probably within the first 8 years, maybe sooner. You can afford solar power because there's all kind of programs. It's just exciting to know that you're self-reliant.
Did you have to do a lot of changes on your house?
No, the only thing is I have a row of white pines in the back. Yeah, I spend maybe $1,000, $1,500 every 3 or 4 years to top them out, and heck, I save that in no time at all. I don't get a bill. When I do, it's very minimal. As I get older, and when I do retire, if I do retire, it won't be a bill. As long as the system keeps working and the sun keeps coming out, I love it.
Well, George, we have a very enthusiastic, longtime solar energy user. That's one more vote for solar for the Park of the Future. Well, George, I think that taking a look at the way consumers are using solar energy in the home was a really good way for us to get grounded in the basics. But when we talk about, powering the park of the future,
Definitely. This is a massive project tomorrow.
yeah, we've got to figure out how to do it sensibly, responsibly, in an economically viable way.
Absolutely.
Rain or shine, 24 hours a day, in every season.
Guess what? You just reminded me. I read an article about this school in Indiana.
Oh,
and-
wait. Is that the one, are you talking about the one where they're using solar to power not just the school, but like the football field?
That's it. So, get your bags packed. We're gonna have another one of those discovery missions.
All right, Hoosier State, here I come. Hello, Superintendent Knoll.
Well, welcome. Glad to have you here today.
Oh, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I was driving here last night, going through all of these incredible cornfields, and then just out of nowhere, your 7 acres of solar panels just pops up like a technological wonder.
Well, we're very proud of what has happened here at North Putnam Community School Corporation and what our board and what our schools have done.
Can you show me around the school
I'd
a little
love
bit?
to. You're in North Putnam Middle School, which is connected also to North Putnam High School.
So is it one big building then?
It's kind of one big building. That's what everybody says, is one big building. I said, it's kind of.
What's it like having this technological advancement right outside their window?
First of all, there's a program our science teachers work with. They monitor how much solar we have. And it's almost like, how many trees are you saving?
Yeah.
It is paid as low as 56% of our utility bill, which for both buildings and the football field and all that, up to 126%. So that's a great savings for us as a small corporation.
So the really exciting thing is you're then able to take some of those savings and funnel that into new resources for your teachers and students?
Yes, ma'am. The great thing for students is we just met last evening, and we're starting with Chromebooks, and we were able to pay for those because of the solar farm. We didn't have to borrow any money. We didn't have to do any of those type of things. And one of the neat things that we have that's a little different than anybody else is we have a battery backup system. So what happens is we actually generate electricity, but if we generate more than what we need, it goes into the batteries, and then we store that. And then when we need it, it either comes into the school or it goes back out what they call the grid. And that's how we generate credits and those type of things.
Nice. So the entire system is really set up to be efficient for the school and financially beneficial to the school.
Yes, ma'am.
Superintendent Knoll, thank you so much for sharing the story of your school with me. It is incredibly impressive to see what you've done here for the school, for the community, and for your students. You've created an incredible learning environment for them. And now I'm going to go meet with John Barakis, who's going to give me a little bit more in-depth overview of the technical side of things. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here.
John, I cannot thank you enough for meeting me out here in this crazy rainy weather. Not the ideal way to look at a solar array, but the superintendent assured me that the system's still working.
Absolutely. The system will work no matter if it's raining, snowing, low light levels, it still captures everything that it possibly can.
Well, I have a sense of adventure, so let's go take a look.
Absolutely.
All right. In we go. I just have to laugh. George always gets me into the craziest adventures.
Yeah, this is not the ideal day, but again, it's still working and we can get an up-close look.
Absolutely, and I'm excited to get an up-close look. I took a look at a residential system, and it was up on the roof. So to actually be up close like this with the panels is pretty amazing. Tell me what I'm looking at here.
So these panels are very similar to the ones that you saw in the residential house. The only difference is these are a little bigger. The house is typically a 60 cell, and these are 72 cells. So there's just 12 more cells within the footprint. 10 years ago, the efficiencies were probably about 10 to 12%, meaning that only 10% of the sunlight that was coming into that panel can be converted to energy. Now, with Boviet, our panels here are 20% efficiency. So we've almost doubled the efficiency in the last 10 years to create more power from the sun.
So that means that with the same footprint, you're getting a lot more power.
Absolutely. We're over doubling the size of the system, so we're getting double the power from the same panel that we did 10 years ago.
Tell me how the battery system fits into this ecosystem.
The battery systems are basically kind of like a generator or a backup. So we were able to extend the amount of energy that we get from the solar panels by storing them in the battery and using them when the light's not efficient enough.
Speaking of batteries, I hear there's a pretty impressive setup here. Could we get inside and take a look at them?
Yeah, let's go take a look. This is the battery storage container, and depending on the size of the system, we'll have one or multiple of these systems. But ultimately, this is where all the batteries are housed, and all the generation from the power we store comes out of this container. So you're looking at a bank of batteries that are typically 40 in each bank, and there's about 10 banks, so there's about 400 batteries. So this stores 3/4 of those panels that are out there.
One of the things that's most impressive about this system is that they can actually power the lights on the sports fields with it.
It's really impressive when you start looking at what solar can do, right? Most people just think that solar is, again, for a residential house.
Yeah.
But as we start looking at commercial usage, we can power sport lighting, we can power factories, we can power all different things with solar.
Do you think you would be up for a little trip to headquarters to talk to George? I would love for him to go a little bit more in detail about our plans for the Park of the Future so that you could talk about how solar might apply there.
I look forward to it.
Excellent. Well, George, I was so excited to come see solar in action. I have now seen the beautiful Indiana weather in action. Thank you for sending me here. Maybe we could go tropical next time? Just a thought.
Hey, Tamara, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you too. It is a lot drier than the last time I saw you.
Absolutely, I'm glad we're inside.
Me too. Well, let me introduce you to George.
Great.
George, John's here.
Grab a chair, will you?
Sure. Nice to meet you, George. I've heard a lot about you.
Hey, nice to meet you too, John. You know, Tamara was telling me all sorts of good things about what you're doing over there with solar. We have a large park on our hands that we're building, and our energy consumption is going to be substantial. I'm hoping you can shed some light on the technology that might be able to help us get off that grid.
What we can do is build a system that meets your specific needs, and then we can look at what you want to power and how big the system needs to be able to do that.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, John. Let's go take a look in the park planning room.
You have a park planning room?
Doesn't everyone?
Sweet.
Well, what do you think, John?
Wow, this is a phenomenal project. I mean, you weren't kidding when you said you had a plan room.
We've been busy. A long time we've been working at this. And it all starts up there in the front. That's mostly dedicated to the world of inspiration. We're going to be building the world's largest treehouse because that symbolically inspires creativity in people. So, John, how many panels would it take, do you think?
On something like this, we'd probably end up being in the millions of panels. I see you have a lot of glass here, you know, and we can put products on the roof that are translucent. So we can utilize the glass domes to create panels above this whole environment that people will see walking through it. And we can use the roof structure to create other areas of solar arrays.
This is an experience that we're going after, which we call edutainment. If we go into that solar space, we want to show it off. It's technology.
We can look at putting something together where we start putting an educational process together that people really understand how those modules are being made. And we can actually show them the process of the raw material and what happens to get from that raw material to a wafer, and then to a cell, and then to a module.
I like the way you think, John. That's fun. How about clouds? How's that going to affect our solar solution?
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, we will be using different technologies on different locations just based on the geographic location of each of the arrays.
So are you willing to sign a confidentiality agreement so we can take the roof off?
Absolutely. I look forward to working on this project. This is the kind of project that, you know, people dream about working on, because it not only affects us today, but it affects us tomorrow and the day after and many generations down the line.
So true. All right.
Excellent. I appreciate it.
Well, Tamara, I told you we're going to need a lot of energy to do this job.
You are not kidding. But don't worry, George. I'm like the sun. My energy is limitless. Every day, I get to search out the most exciting innovations, like getting to talk to Trinity, who clued me in on what's going in the consumer solar arena. In a nutshell, converting your home to solar is easier than you might think, and also the payback can be faster than you might imagine.
And we both got to spend some time with John, our solar expert.
Their installation in Indiana, the school, was so cool. And I do mean literally cool, like cold, windy, and rainy. But I learned a lot of new stuff while I was there, like the fact that solar energy still works even when it's cold and rainy.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really enjoyed that report. And to see how solar has helped to fund the hiring of those teachers and to get new computers for them. That was wonderful.
Well, one thing I've learned about you is how important education is to you.
Oh, definitely. You know, sustainability is critical, and our talk with John confirmed their commitment to solar for the park.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. I mean, you know how important the environment is to me, but I'm really glad to hear you say that it also makes financial sense for us.
Do you think you need a break?
George, I'm just getting started. Inspiration is like energy for the mind.
It's exciting.
Thanks. Well, I think we're off to a good start here. Well, George, you have another mission for me tonight?
Hey, not tonight, no.
All right. Well, then I am gonna head home and recharge.
All right. Well, you've earned it. Go get some rest. I think I'm gonna hang out and I'm gonna catch some rays.
What?